Ever met someone who made the whole room feel lighter just by leaving it? Not every warm smile hides good intentions. Sometimes, the most dangerous people are the ones who seem the sweetest. If you've ever walked away from a conversation feeling drained, confused, or quietly doubting yourself, you might have just crossed paths with the kind of woman this video is about. Some women light up a room simply by being in it. Others, well, the room somehow feels brighter the moment they're gone. And to be clear, this isn't about resentment. It's not about pointing fingers or holding grudges. This is about getting real, seeing clearly. Because let's be honest, if you've lived long enough, you've seen it for yourself. Not everyone who acts friendly is actually your friend. Not every person who reaches for your hand intends to hold it with care. And life's too short to keep pouring your time, your energy, and your hard-earned peace into women who confuse you, drain you, or leave you constantly questioning your worth. Especially the ones who wear charm like armor, those polished smiles, elegant manners, and surface-level sweetness that hide something deeper, something colder. In this video, we're going to uncover 6 clear, undeniable signs of a toxic woman, patterns of behavior you must learn to spot. This isn't about judging people. It's about wisdom. About knowing who truly deserves a place in your life, and who's only there to take what they can and leave you empty. As the Stoic emperor Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts." And in just a moment, you'll understand how your peace of mind and even your future can be protected by recognizing the red flags we're about to reveal. We just talked about the power of protecting your peace, and how not every woman who seems sweet on the surface is someone you want close. Now let's sharpen that clarity even more. Because as Marcus Aurelius wisely said, the happiness of your life depends on the quality of your thoughts. And to that, I'd add, it also depends on the company you keep. So let's begin with the first unmistakable sign of a toxic woman. Number 1, she's always the victim. Always. This one is subtle, easy to miss until you're already in too deep. She's the woman who, no matter the situation, always finds a way to cast herself as the one who was wronged. A stranger at the grocery store? Somehow rude. A friendship of 20 years? Ended in betrayal. 3 past relationships? All with men who couldn't handle her honesty. You sit across from her at dinner. You nod as she speaks. You might even feel protective, like she just needs someone decent to finally treat her right. She's persuasive, even disarming. She tells vivid stories. Her boss was threatened by her confidence. Her exes didn't appreciate her loyalty. Her family favored her sister since childhood. It all sounds so unfair, until you start noticing a pattern. And that's the real hook. The more time you spend with her, the more you realize it's not about healing. It's about control. I remember a man named Tom. Good guy. Kind, dependable. He met a woman like this after his divorce. At first, he found her openness refreshing. She didn't hide a thing. Her honesty felt rare. But months went by, and the stories kept coming. Always the same rhythm. Everyone around her was cruel, insecure, jealous. Every job ended because of someone else's failure. Every falling out, someone else's fault. Eventually, Tom found himself caught in a script he never agreed to. He was either the hero constantly reassuring her she was right, or the villain the moment he disagreed with her. Especially if he dared suggest she might bear any responsibility herself. That's when things get dangerous. A woman who lives in permanent victimhood doesn't take ownership of her choices. She twists every event to fit her version of reality. And if you're close, you'll be written into her story too. Soon, you become the one who never understood her, the one who let her down. It becomes a cycle, and it will wear you down. Stoic philosophy reminds us, we can't control other people, only our own minds. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. But a woman who clings to victimhood, she rejects that power. She hands it over to the world and expects others to carry her emotional burden. And that includes you. She will drain your time, your patience, your sense of self, unless you step back and see it clearly. So what should you do? Recognize the pattern. Refuse to play the rescuer. Don't shoulder wounds that someone refuses to heal on their own. Stay grounded. Respond with calm reasoning, not emotional rescue. Extend compassion, but don't lose your balance. So when the stories never change, and you find yourself stuck in that same draining loop, the wisest thing you can do is step back. Not with anger, not with drama, but with calm, firm boundaries. Because as Stoic wisdom reminds us, peace begins within. And if someone keeps dragging you into emotional chaos, walking away isn't cruel. It's clarity. It's strength. Now let's move on to the second sign of a toxic woman. 2. She's addicted to drama. You'll often feel this one before you fully recognize it. It starts with a knot in your gut, a quiet tension. Something always feels off. Like calmness isn't allowed to last too long. This isn't about the occasional emotional moment that we all have now and then. No, this is deeper. This is a woman whose entire world runs on conflict, emotional turbulence, and constant highs and lows. It's like her life is one giant play, and she's the director, the lead actress, and the editor rewriting the script. Every hour, when things are too still, too quiet, too normal, she finds a way to ignite something. Stir up just enough trouble to feel alive again. To her, peace feels like suffocation. Stability is a threat. She needs the rush, the spark, the adrenaline that comes with emotional explosions. And without realizing it, you'll be pulled into her whirlwind. At first, it's subtle. One night, you're tired. You miss a detail in her story. She thinks you're not listening. Suddenly, your silence becomes proof that you don't care. Or maybe you didn't text back fast enough, and now it's a symbol of you pulling away. Before you know it, a perfectly calm evening spirals into an argument you never saw coming. You spend hours explaining, apologizing, backtracking, trying to fix something you don't even fully understand. And by the end of it, you're drained, while she somehow seems even more energized. Why? Because for someone who thrives on drama, conflict is power. It puts them at the center of the emotional universe. When everything spins around their moods, they feel in control. And the rest of us, we're left dizzy, trying to stabilize what was never steady to begin with. From a Stoic lens, it makes perfect sense. Seneca once wrote, "An angry man opens his mouth and shuts his eyes." Meaning, in moments of emotional chaos, reason disappears. And that's exactly what happens here. Woman addicted to drama isn't chasing truth. She's chasing stimulation. She doesn't seek resolution, only emotional reaction. Whether it's her feelings or yours, the goal is the same. Keep the fire burning. If you happen to be standing too close to the flames, you'll get scorched. The real danger? You might not notice it at first. You'll think you're helping, soothing the tension, being the calm one. But the truth is, you're slowly being pulled into the show. And over time, your clarity fades. Your peace begins to erode. You become reactive, anxious, walking on eggshells, wondering what will set off the next storm. And when a man loses his inner stillness, he also loses his greatest strength. So what's the solution? Distance. Not necessarily physical distance, at least not at first, but emotional space, detachment. Don't try to fix the storm. Let the waves crash, but don't dive in. Watch, observe, stay centered. Just as Epictetus taught, we can't control others, we can only control how we respond. And sometimes the strongest response is silence, space, and refusing to be pulled into someone else's chaos. You are not required to be an actor in someone else's emotional theater. Your role, as a grounded man, is to remain calm, steady, and, above all, free. We just explored how emotional chaos can become a subtle form of control, pulling you into a cycle that drains your strength. But sometimes, the manipulation isn't loud or explosive. It's quiet, silent, and it hides behind something even more powerful than anger. It hides behind guilt. That tightness in your chest, the sinking feeling in your gut, that heaviness you can't quite name. It's not just in your imagination. Studies show that guilt activates the same regions in the brain as physical pain. That's why it lingers. That's why it feels like you're being pulled down, even when nothing has been said aloud. And some women, the wrong women, know exactly how to use this. #3. She controls through guilt, not through confrontation, not through yelling, but through subtle, calculated moves that quietly make you question yourself. At first, it all seems harmless. She might act a little disappointed when you cancel dinner to focus on an important deadline at work. She goes quiet when you suggest taking some time alone to recharge. You think maybe she just needs reassurance. So you offer it, you bend, you rearrange your schedule. You skip that gym session or cancel that meeting, just to avoid the heaviness in her silence. It's not what she says. It's how she looks at you. That glance that says, "I thought I mattered more." That sigh that whispers, "I didn't think you'd choose work over me." And so little by little, you give in. Each time, a small piece of your freedom slips away, not with a shout, but with a whisper. And the worst part? You don't even realize it's happening. You stop making decisions based on your priorities. You stop living by your values. Instead, you react, scrambling to avoid that creeping guilt that shows up every time you choose yourself. That's the game. And guilt is the currency. The more you pay, the more she takes. Not always in words sometimes, it's just a shift in tone, a cold silence, a withheld hug. Affection becomes conditional, tied to whether or not you play your part. Eventually, you're not just living with her, you're performing for her. You explain your choices more than you make them. You tread carefully, worried you'll disappoint her again. And if you don't meet her unspoken expectations, you become the villain in her silent script. And just like that, you stop being yourself. You become the character she needs you to be, the one who bends, who fixes, who apologizes. But Stoic philosophy gives us a way out. Epictetus once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that's exactly what's at stake here, your freedom. Not just your physical space, but your mental clarity. Your ability to choose from a place of reason, not fear. Because when guilt becomes your guide, judgment gets cloudy. You lose direction. You live in response, not intention. And over time, you drift further from the man you were meant to be. The solution? Not conflict, not accusation, but clarity. Set boundaries that are firm but calm. Make decisions from values, not from fear. Give when you choose to, not because you feel pressured, but because it aligns with who you are. And when she tries to pull those old strings of guilt, you don't react, you don't explain. You stay steady, calm, clear. Because a man who knows his values is about to discover the fourth sign, and this one strikes at your very sense of peace. A man who knows his values stands firm in them. And the one thing guilt can never take from you, unless you surrender it, is your freedom. But what happens when it's not guilt that chips away at your strength, but cold indifference? Let's move to the fourth sign, and this one often shows itself in your lowest moments. Number 4. She lacks empathy. This is a truth every man eventually learns. Life will take a hard turn. It might be the loss of someone you love, a health crisis, a business collapse. Maybe it's just a season of exhaustion, when the weight of everything becomes too much. In those moments, those raw, human moments, you find out exactly who's in your corner. And a woman who lacks empathy? She won't be. Or if she is, it's not because her heart pulled her there. It's because she thinks it's what she should do. Her presence will feel like a duty, not a comfort. At first, it shows in little things. You tell her you've had a brutal week. She looks up from her phone, nods quickly, then pivots the conversation back to herself. Something trivial, like which coffee shop got her order wrong. Or maybe you open up about something that took real courage to say aloud, something personal, something tender, and she breezes past it like you mentioned the weather. There's a gap, a quiet, invisible space between you. It's not just that she doesn't understand, it's that she doesn't want to. I remember a man who shared this with me, a man I respect deeply. He lost his wife. After some time, he began seeing someone new. She seemed kind, supportive at first, but grief has a way of peeling back the layers. When the pain got real, when he didn't need words or solutions, just someone who could sit with him in the silence, she grew restless, uncomfortable. Her presence shifted. She offered surface-level comfort, then quickly changed the subject back to herself, her plans, her needs, her world. And that was the moment it hit him. He felt lonelier with her than he ever did alone. That's the cost of misplaced empathy. You can be sitting side by side, yet feel like you're on opposite ends of the world. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." And to that, I'd add, waste no more time hoping someone will become who they're not. Empathy isn't something you can force, teach, or earn. It's not something you unlock with the right words or enough patience. It's either there, or at I send single quotes T. And when it's missing, you'll know. You'll feel it in your bones. An empathetic woman doesn't need to fix everything. She doesn't need grand gestures. Just her steady, sincere presence says, "I'm with you." But a woman who lacks empathy, she might be physically close, yet emotionally, she's already gone. And if you're constantly making excuses for why she's distant when you need her most, stop. Tune in to that ache, because Stoicism doesn't teach us to wish things were different. It teaches us to see things as they are. And the truth is this: if she can't meet you with compassion when life turns dark, she won't be your shelter when the storm really hits. So what do you do? That answer begins with the fifth sign, a behavior even more subtle, but just as damaging. So when empathy is absent, when you're sitting next to someone who hears your words but never really feels them, the answer isn't to fight harder, it's to choose differently. To walk away if you must, not in anger, but with clarity. Life is too short to be with someone who listens with their ears, but not with their heart. Let's move forward. Number 5. She's obsessed with superficial things. This one can be tricky. It doesn't always wave a red flag at first. In fact, it might even seem playful, stylish, or fun in the beginning. But over time, it starts to drain you in ways you didn't expect. This is the kind of woman who lives for the surface, who values what's seen over what's felt. How big the house is, how expensive the shoes are, how many followers, likes, and compliments she racks up online. At first, it may seem harmless, just someone who enjoys the finer things in life. But look closer. It's not really about the things. It's about what they represent. To her, appearances equal status. Designer labels are more than just fabric. They're symbols of superiority. The car, the vacation, the crowd's attention. These aren't pleasures, they're proof. Proof that she's worthy, admired, envied. Her sense of self is built entirely on what she can show, not who she truly is. And here's where it begins to affect you. At first, you might shrug it off. What's wrong with wanting something nice now and then? But soon, you'll realize the deeper truth. This isn't about taste, it's about validation. She judges herself and she judges you based on what you can deliver externally. Your income becomes a measuring stick. Your lifestyle, a scoreboard. Your worth, reduced to a number, a brand, or a photo-worthy moment. You'll feel like you're constantly competing in a game you never signed up for. Whether you earn 6 figures or 7, whether you drive a dependable truck or a luxury car, it will never be enough. Because someone else will always have more, and she'll always be looking over your shoulder to see who's next on the ladder. This mindset, the Stoics warned us about it thousands of years ago. Epictetus wrote, "Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants." Yet a woman who's obsessed with image and status lives in a constant state of hunger. No matter what she acquires, it's never satisfaction that follows. It's a fleeting high, chased by a hollow emptiness that demands more. It's like trying to fill a jar with a cracked bottom. No matter how much you pour in, it leaks right back out. She's trapped in the endless cycle of chasing externals. And if you tie your life to hers, you'll be dragged into that same cycle, running faster and faster, getting nowhere. But Stoicism offers us a clearer path. Marcus Aurelius taught that externals are indifferents. They neither add nor subtract from who you truly are as a human being. What matters is character, your virtue, your principles, your way of living. A woman who can't see past the surface will never see the man of depth standing right in front of her. Seneca put it plainly, it is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, who is poor. And by that definition, the woman obsessed with status is the poorest of all. Not in money but in spirit. She will never know peace. And more importantly, she will never bring peace to you. And peace, my friend, that inner stillness, that grounded presence, is what a Stoic man must protect above all else. So what happens when a woman doesn't just chase status, but uses your silence, your kindness, even your stillness as a weapon? When someone cares more about appearances than substance, more about looking happy than being genuine, you'll end up chasing shadows. You'll pour your energy, your dignity, and your peace into an illusion. And in the end, you'll lose more than just time, you'll lose yourself. That's why the solution isn't bitterness. It's wisdom. You walk away not to punish her, but to protect you. Because a man who values his peace knows when it's time to leave a shallow life behind. Now, Let's move to the sixth sign, and it's one that doesn't scream at you. It whispers. It reveals itself in the quiet tension of disagreement. Number 6. She can't admit she's wrong. At first, it's small things. A disagreement over dinner plans. A harmless misunderstanding about what someone said. But somehow, it always turns into more than it should. Why? Because she simply cannot say, "I was wrong." You could calmly explain your side, lay out the facts, even offer undeniable proof. And yet, the conversation twists. Logic slips away. Suddenly, it's not about the issue anymore, it's about how you said it, or how she felt attacked, or how you always do this. The actual point vanishes beneath a wave of emotional redirection. At first, you might excuse it. Maybe she's just having a bad day. Maybe she's just proud. But over time you start to see the pattern. It's not random, it's reflex. She will defend a mistake, deny a hurtful comment, justify an unfair decision, no matter how obvious it is. Because to her, being wrong isn't just inconvenient. It's unacceptable. Why? Because underneath that defensiveness is something deeper. A fragile identity. To someone like this, admitting fault doesn't feel like humility, it feels like destruction. So they protect themselves at all costs, even if it costs the relationship. But here's what really gets lost in that battle to be right: growth, connection, trust. Because a person who refuses to acknowledge fault cannot truly learn. And a person who refuses to learn cannot grow. And without growth, love itself begins to wither. The Stoics saw this with clarity. Marcus Aurelius once said, "If anyone can refute me, show me I'm making a mistake or looking at things from the wrong perspective, I'll gladly change. It's the truth I'm after." That's the mark of true strength, not clinging to pride, but embracing truth, even when it hurts. That's what wisdom looks like. But in a relationship where one person refuses to be wrong, the burden of reason always falls on you. You become the only one keeping things balanced, the only one who reflects, apologizes, adjusts. It's exhausting. And over time, it's isolating, because that relationship stops being a partnership and becomes a power struggle. It's not built on love or understanding, but control. And the irony? In protecting her pride, she loses the very thing Stoicism holds sacred: the pursuit of truth. When someone can't say, "I was wrong," it's not just about ego, it's a wall. A wall that shuts out growth, shuts out intimacy, and ultimately shuts out love itself. That's why, for a Stoic man, clarity is critical. You must choose a life of humility and truth, and you must choose a partner who walks that same path. Not because she's flawless, but because she's brave enough to admit when she's not. Because without that courage, there's no growth, no connection. Only silent competition, and life is too short to keep score with someone who refuses to grow. Seneca once said, "Only time can heal what reason cannot." But if reason is never welcome, if truth is always blocked, time doesn't heal. It hardens. It divides. It slowly destroys what might have been. So if she can't offer those 3 simple words, "I was wrong," then the answer is clear. You don't walk away out of pride. You walk away out of self-respect and commitment to the life of peace and wisdom you're building. When a woman disrespects your time, it's not just your calendar she disrupts. It's your peace, your presence, your sense of self. And the most dangerous part? It rarely happens all at once. It's quiet, subtle, a slow erosion you won't even notice until one day you realize years have slipped through your fingers. I remember a man named Richard. We used to work together back in Houston. He was the kind of man you'd respect. Instantly mid-50s, sharp mind, self-made contractor. He had built everything he had from scratch. Disciplined, focused, respected in every room he walked into. But in his personal life, it was a different story. Richard started dating a woman named Elise. At first, she seemed perfect, warm, beautiful, attentive. She knew how to make a man feel seen. But as time passed, a pattern emerged. She was always late. First 15 minutes, then 30, then more. Plans would get canceled last minute. She didn't feel well. Something came up, or sometimes she simply forgot altogether. Richard, ever the patient man, gave her grace. He told himself it was just life. We all get busy, right? But weeks turned into months. Soon, he was rearranging his work schedule for her, waiting alone in restaurants, skipping fishing trips with his oldest friends because Elise said she wanted to see him, only to cancel without a second thought. I'll never forget the day we sat across from each other in that cafe. He looked down at his phone, sighed deeply, and said something I'll never forget. "Man, I feel like I'm always waiting." And that's the cost of someone who doesn't value your time. They don't just keep you waiting at tables or reschedule plans. They keep your heart on hold, your mind stuck in limbo. They teach you to accept less, to shrink your expectations, and to think this is normal. But a Stoic man knows better. Seneca once wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." And Richard finally realized, Elise wasn't busy. She wasn't forgetful. She just didn't value his time, because she didn't truly value him, and he had let it happen. Why? Because he hadn't yet learned to value his own time first. The solution isn't a dramatic confrontation. It isn't begging or demanding more. It's clarity. It's choosing to protect your time with the same devotion you protect your peace. Because in truth, they are one and the same. A woman who respects you will respect your time. She will show up when she says she will. She won't waste your minutes because she knows they're sacred. Epictetus asked, "How long are you going to wait before you demand the best for yourself?" Richard stopped waiting. So should you, because time wasted is not just time lost, it's life lost. Spend yours where it's valued. You've made it this far, so now, take a breath, reflect. Ask yourself, which of these signs have you seen? Which ones have you ignored? And most importantly, what will you do with this clarity? If this message spoke to you, let me know in the comments. Share your story, your journey, or simply write, "I love this," to show you've completed this session. Your presence here helps this community grow, men helping men reclaim their time, their peace, and their purpose. 2 more videos are waiting for you right here. Keep learning, keep growing, and I'll see you in the next one.